I have in the studio with me Miss Shirley Crawford. She's Assistant Director of BizWorks. And for those of you who just say it, BizWorks, what is that? She's going to tell you what it's all about. It is a very important, excellent resource organization here in the Richmond area. And we're going to talk about, it's a little bit about business, a little bit about future, about vision, about professionals that have the skills and ability to help you and advise you. We're going to talk about that. Shirley Crawford, welcome to the Jack Gravely Show.
Thank you very much, Jack. It's a pleasure for me to be here.
Thank you.
And especially to talk about my favorite subject in the whole wide world, entrepreneurship. As he mentioned, I am with BizWorks. BizWorks is a small business incubator, and everyone always asks, what is an incubator?
Yes.
And so I always think if you're like me, I'm a geek. I love to go to the fair, and they always have all the little ducklings out there, and they have them in a safe environment where it's got the heat lamp until they're big and strong enough that they take them and they can place them on their own. That's what we do for businesses. We provide a place for business owners to come in with that idea where they're still in that fledgling stage and to provide them with the safety and security of a little safety net. And then where they're big and strong, we graduate them and we send them out. And we do that we have 3 different programs to do that. We have a co-working space. So people who don't want to go to, Panera, they're looking for something a little professional. They can spend $10 for the day and come in and have coffee and Wi-Fi and network and collaborate in a professional environment. Then we have residential members. And those are people who have a store or a restaurant, or maybe they're still working from home and don't need office space, but they still need the assistance, the guidance, the direction, the seminars, all the things that we offer. And they pay $50 a month. And they can also use our address as their physical address for their business.
Wow.
Rather than their home address, which is so unsafe. And then we have our residential members. They get the creme de la creme. They get everything. They are actually in our building. They have either office space or warehouse space. We have warehouse space up to 20,000 square feet. So in our building, from the front, it looks so tiny. So you have to come by for a tour, everybody. Come on over for a visit. And when you come in, it looks so small from the front, but that's where all the offices are. You go through the magic door, and that's where you find the 20,000 square feet.
So if I come, where do I come? Where are you located?
We are located at 2545 Bellwood Road. So we're down the street from the Defense Supply Center.
So you go down Route 1.
Yes.
South, and you take a right where?
Okay, I'm going to go to the right direction. If you're passing the Defense Supply Center on your right-hand side,
right,
we're on the left. So you're going to come down 1 block to the light and make a left, and that's exactly where we are, across the street from M.B. Goodwin and Sons. Now.
Okay. And how long have BizWorks been in business around here?
BizWorks has been around since 2001. And so it started off as a project of the Jefferson Davis Association, which is this group of citizens who wanted to make a difference in their community. And they knew they had to do it in 2 ways. One, they had to help out in the community. So they got street signs posted. They got pavements put down. They did all kinds of things in the community. They're doing all kinds of things in the state parks and all kinds of things out in that area. And they also realized that they had to have an impact in the business sector. So you can't just build up someone's house and they don't have the money to maintain it. So they did it in 2 different ways. And they started off with the BizWorks project. And we actually grew to be so large and so impactful that we had to have our own 501c3.
Suppose I live in Petersburg. Can I?
Yes.
Suppose I live in Goochland. Can I use your services? Glen Allen.
Yes.
So it's for the Richmond metro area.
Yes.
BizWorks. Ladies and gentlemen, again, for those of you who just may have tuned in, I'm with Miss Shirley Crawford. She's director of BizWorks. And I like the idea of what you're saying. If someone is starting a business and want a business address and want the office atmosphere, they can come down and use space, for nominal cost in BizWorks building and be around people that's doing business, be around people like you and get that benefit.
Yes, and they get a lot more. So if you want office rental space, I'm going to say go to Regis. Plug to Regis. If you just want office space, you can go there. We are a program, and so we are a membership program. So you can't just come in and say, hey, I know that you have cheap rent. We want an office down the hallway. And it is inexpensive. We are a nonprofit. So our office space...
BizWorks is a nonprofit?
We are 501c3. Yes, we are a
wow.
nonprofit.
Okay.
And our office space is below market value. So some might say cheap, but we say inexpensive.
Inexpensive.
And the way that works is someone has to come in and say, okay, I want to be a member. We actually vet them because we have a small staff. a very dedicated staff, but it's a small staff. And so I tell people all the time, I wake up at 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. literally every morning and jot in my notepad things about my members and things that they can do and ways they can improve. If someone wants to come in and they don't have that same drive and that same passion, we're not a fit. And that would be a waste of our resources. So we actually vet to make sure, one, that it's a viable business idea, that it's not a hobby. It's actually something that can make money. It's someone who's going to be passionate, be that part-time or full-time. They still have to have the passion and the vision and the wherewithal to be able to make it to the end.
Again, BizWorks is located at 2545 Bellwood Road, North Chesterfield, Virginia. What's your telephone number, Shirley?
It's 804-275-5190.
One more time.
804-275-5190.
You all have a website?
Yes, we do.
What's the website?
BizWorksCenter.org.
And that's BizWorks. BizWorks. BizWorks.
Center, CENTER.org.
.org. There it is. Hey, I keep saying, if you have a desire to go into business, be an entrepreneur, there are all kind of opportunities. And you've heard about BizWorks. And let me tell you, if you fail the first time, Gates failed the first time.
Yeah.
Come on. And BizWorks, I just wish things like this were around when I finished school and when I was coming up and knew about it. BizWorks is out there. And what are some of the other benefits that you have at BizWorks? You were telling me you have training programs at BizWorks. Talk a little bit about some other programs.
We have a lot of benefits for our members and even for the community at large. So one of the things that we offer every month, except for the summer goes a little lighter because people are on vacation.
Right.
We offer seminars, and those seminars can vary from how to do crowdfunding to how to do marketing, social media, tax information for your business. I mean, just about anything you can think of. One of my favorite sessions was we had a lunch and learn that was with a local lawyer, and you just got to come in and ask whatever questions that you had.
Wow.
We have people who come in from all over to do the seminars for us. And the way it works for our members, anyone who's a member of BizWorks, all seminars are free.
Wow.
Now, if for the general public, seminars vary from $15 to $20. But for all of our members, every seminar that we offer is free. And in addition to that, there's another program that we have that is also one of my favorites. We have the Center for Women Entrepreneurs. It's a 6-session program that goes over 3 months. And the women who come in, they're from various backgrounds, various states, with their careers or with their companies. And so what happens is they get to come in. They learn everything from personal finance to how to establish credit for your business, marketing, how to sell, how to do your elevator pitch. And the thing that is really important to me is that by the time they leave the program, they have at least their first draft of their business plan. And that program, once again, $75.
Wait a minute. So, Ms. Crawford, you all will help people develop a business plan? You will help them write and draft out a business plan for their business? What about, so Ms. Crawford, you've helped me do all of that. Ms. Crawford, I need some money to get started. Can you all help us with getting loan packages and putting a loan package together and all that kind of stuff?
So this is the one area that we don't dabble in as much for a variety of reasons.
Okay.
So we are very well connected to all the local banks, the SBA, and all of our lenders in the area.
Okay.
And so we have people who come in to teach you. Like one of the seminars we had was lending from a banker's perspective. So we actually had a local loan officer come in and explain exactly what they're looking for. So we will help you with the prep, but we actually stay away from the financing area. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are hearing Miss Shirley Crawford. She is the Assistant Director of BizWorks. We're going to take a 4-minute break. When we come back, I'm going to open the lines. If you have a question or a comment, she's a guest in my studio, and you know how we treat our guests, but she said she would take calls. So if you have a call for Miss Shirley Crawford of BizWorks, call us at 788-0990. Stay with us on the Jack Gravely Show.
Can't imagine that this love is through. Feeling the pain, girl, when you lose too hot.
Thank you very much for staying with me on the Jack Gravely Show. I'm coming to you from WLEE News Talk 990 in Richmond. Miss Shirley Crawford, Assistant Director of BizWorks, is my guest. The telephone is open, 788-0990, 788-0990. She's open for questions. We're talking about business plans, office space, and things like this. She told you in the last segment what BizWorks is all about. And my question to Ms. Crawford now, Ms. Crawford, Is this a good time to start a business in the Richmond metro area?
It is always a good time. And so most people think that they should start a business in crisis. So around 2008, when everything was crumbling, everybody started a business. And I mean, and that's great. But really, I come from an entrepreneurial family. So that means I always thought that everyone had some type of business.
And you're a Richmond girl. You were born, raised in Richmond?
I am a native Richmonder, straight out of Highland Park.
Okay.
And so I always assumed that everyone had a business. I like to call them side hustles. So even if you're working for someone else, you should always have your own stream of income. You should never allow yourself to be dependent on the GEs of the world. Love GE, work there, love them. Yeah, but you should never be dependent on them because those businesses crumble. But you can always depend on yourself. And then it also instills all those right values in your children. Everything they need to know to succeed in life, they can learn from working alongside with their parents in their small business that they own.
Ladies and gentlemen, the telephone number is 788-0990, 788-0990. Miss Crawford is here. If you have a question or a comment or a situation you would like to discuss with her, I'll make an appointment to go to BizWorks. This is your opportunity. It's Tuesday morning. It's about 25 minutes past the hour. 788-0990 is my number. My toll-free number is 877-953-3990. Suppose I have I want to set up a computer repair company.
Okay.
Can BizWorks help me?
BizWorks is a mixed-use incubator. So, and what that means is like VCU has a biotech center. So that means they specialize in a certain area. As a mixed-use incubator, we actually deal with businesses across the board. I have everything at the moment I have a company that makes these charcoal odor bags that they sell on eBay, which are actually phenomenal, I actually have a forensics company, Integrity Forensics. And basically, they're all early retired from the State Department. And they do everything from latent prints to digital prints. They can take anything you can think of. We have a blood spatter specialist. And it's amazing to me because she talks about blood, guts, and gore with a smile, the sweetest person in the world. And they're all former CSIs. And so because of the fact that the state...
And they come to BizWorks to help you all to help their business.
They are BizWorks members. So we're actually helping them with their business because they know everything that there is to know about what they do, but they came to us because we help them learn how to run a business.
Miss Crawford, I own a truck. I'm in the trucking business. What can BizWorks do for me? I mean, I drive a truck. I got 3 or 4 trucks. I have 2 or 3. I got 1 or 2 part-time employees or 1 or 2 full-time employees. What can BizWorks do for me?
This is a great question because one of the things that happens with people who come in our door, they vary from just got the idea, just got started. So some people have been in business for a decade and still need assistance. Lots of people that we talk with, for example, I talked with a gentleman not too long ago who's contemplating membership, and he has a trucking distribution center. And so here it is, he's been quite successful. But when we go back into how he's doing what he's doing, he doesn't have policies and procedures. His insurance isn't actually correct. We had long conversations, especially for trucking.
Right.
You need to make sure that that's in line. We actually lined him up with a lawyer because I wasn't satisfied with the state of his contracts as well. And then we had massive conversations about marketing, which is one of my favorite topics, to figure out how to better market his business and looking at the market that you're in, especially with trucking. Trucking tends to be a little bit saturated because anyone can go and get their license and they can lease a truck. And technically they're an entrepreneur on their own, but there's so much more to that process. And so we go through and sit down with you, be it for a trucking company or another company. As I think I mentioned before, we do free consultation. So anyone can walk in the door and sit down and talk with us for 30 to 45 minutes. And we talk to you about your business, where you are, what are you doing? And we really get into the nitty gritty. Because even if you've been in business for a long time, do you have HR policies? Do you have the right financial structure? Are you using QuickBooks, using Peachtree? What are you doing?
I hear all of that you're saying. And obviously you have experience. Talk to my listeners and me about the whole concept that simply because you're a small business, you don't advertise. Why is it important for a business, no matter how small, to advertise who they are and what they do?
I think a prime example, there's a restaurant that was down in Carytown that was there for eons, and everyone knew the restaurant, highly successful. but they didn't move with the marketing times. They interviewed the owner. It's a woman whose name I forget, but they interviewed her and they asked, what happened? She has great food, great location. Everyone knew about her. She didn't follow the trends in marketing. And so she just assumed that word of mouth would be it. Here's the thing. Every person, every human being has a short attention span. Studies show you have to give a message 8 times for people to hear it once. And so for it to resonate with someone, that's 8 times.
Wait a minute. So what you're telling me is that if someone advertises on the Jack Gravely show, I have to play that ad 8 times before they hear it.
Now, advertising on this show will be phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
But there are additional options as well.
You.
So for any message you have to be thinking, I'm going to put this on my Facebook page. I'm going to tweet this. I'm going to send out flyers. I'm going to send out an email blast. I'm going to do radio advertising on the Jack Gravely show.
Okay.
Right? I'm going to do 8 different things for this one message. And that's how you make sure that people are actually hearing the message at least once, that it's resonating with them.
I have always said small businesses, we've had some good advertisers on this show, but there are some wonderful, beautiful, as you said, successful businesses in the Richmond market that could be bigger and that could be better, have more clientele. They just don't advertise.
And the problem is that the average business owner, when they cut their budget, it's the first thing they cut. And it's really foolish, because even if you have a stellar reputation,
Crawford, I can't afford advertising.
You can't afford not to. You can't afford not to. I get no money whatsoever for saying this. You have to do it. People will forget you. And it's just like, okay, so for example, the WNBA was in Richmond when they first started the WNBA.
Right.
There was a
the
team.
Basketball league.
There was a team here.
Right.
And so in my mind's eye, I always said, I'm going to go buy a season ticket. I'm going to go buy a season ticket. This is Richmond. Richmond forgets about you quickly. Okay? And so I was like, I'm going to go buy a ticket. By the time I went to go buy a ticket, they were gone. And part of that was because even though in my mind, it was on my mental plate of things to do, it kept going lower and lower and lower until they were out of here. They weren't giving those reminders the way that they should have. They did things at the game, but you have to get me to the game. That has to be the game plan for every small business owner. Even if it's just you have somebody out there waving a sign. You know what? I think about Liberty Tax Services all the time just because of that Statue of Liberty standing in the street. Yeah. You have to have a game plan, and you have to always be out there sharing. Word of mouth is wonderful for confirmation, but you have to keep putting the message out there. You have to. You have no options. The end.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Shirley Crawford, I'm telling you, you all missing a golden opportunity, just laying back, sipping that coffee, listening to her this morning. If you have a call, if you have a caller, if you have a question or a comment, 788-0990, 788-0990. My toll-free number is 877-953-3990. She's the assistant director over at BizWorks. Phenomenal company. You look at their brochure and some of the things they do. They do training. They provide office space. They do mailing and package services. They do secretarial services. They do website access page for members. The monitoring team, they do human resource assistance. Let's go to this call right quick before we go to break. Let's go to John. John in Richmond, you have a question or comment for Ms. Crawford?
Yes. I was wondering, somebody, I know you mentioned that it's got to be a business, not a hobby. And a lot of people have home-based business, and then they just don't have enough space for, use your garage. Yeah. Like even Bill Gates and all the rest of those guys started in their garage, they said, and or their basement. What if I still want to have my office in my home, but I need that storage space? How much would that be?
Okay, so let me clarify a couple things and then answer that question. So when I talk about a hobby, lots of people talk about how they make the best apple pie or how they have the barbecue sauce that's been passed down for generations. If no one is paying you for what you're providing, that's a hobby. No matter how many people say they love it or how much they would spend for it, until they put their money where their mouth is, that's a hobby. So when you're talking about having storage space, BizWorks itself, we are a member program. So if you're coming to us, you have to want more than just space. So if you're just looking for an office, there are lots of places. If you want to give me a call in the office, I can give you a list of places that you can call just for storage. But if you're looking for the people who are going to help you take your business to the next level, that's us.
Right. I just wondered if there were people that did that. They kind of slowly moved in like that. Like it's just growing. And I just need a spot to, a cheap spot that keep my inventory, and not to say that I wouldn't want an office there too, but I just can't grow but so fast, you know. And
Yes. So, once again, so for your specific case, I might need to talk to you specifically. Generally speaking, normally when people are trying to transition, that's why we have what we call that virtual member program that I was talking about. So that's for people who aren't technically in our program. They're not, residing in our building, but they're looking for the assistance. So while you're making this transition, if you're trying to figure out how to market, where to take your product, what you should be doing next, then we are great for that consultation that we can offer you. But if you're actually having space in the building, it doesn't have to be an office. It can be warehouse space. It can be either, but if you're having space in the building, then technically you're a residential member, meaning that you reside in the building. And so that would mean that you'd have to come in, fill out an application, sit down and talk with us, and we can determine whether or not you're a fit for us. Or one of the things that we do tons of, we network all day, and we do that so that if someone comes in and they need a resource, I have a list of places that I can send you to, or resources I can refer you to, or things that I can share with you. So if you like and you're really still having questions, feel free to come by and see us at BizWorks.
Give him your telephone number. John, the telephone number?
It's 804-275-5190. That's 804-275-5190. Call and make an appointment, and we can sit down and talk to figure out if we're right for you or if someone else is. And we are fine with sharing.
And it doesn't cost them anything.
No, free consultation.
right, I was just wondering what would be the price like per square foot for the storage area?
The current rate for square, and it changes, but the current rate for square footage is $550 a square.
$550 square foot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay,
All
thanks a lot,
well,
John.
Good luck.
All right, appreciate it. Hey, look, we got to take a break here with Miss Shirley Crawford. The phones are lighting up. For Peace to Be and others, stay with us. We'll be right back. We got to take a 2-minute break. Thank you very much for staying with me on the Jack Gravely Show here on a Tuesday morning. It is the 26th. It's the 26th of May, 2015. For Peace to Be, you on the air.
Good morning, Jack.
Good morning.
Crawley.
Miss
How y'all
Crawford.
doing?
Right, fine.
Miss Crawley, right?
Crawford.
Miss Crawford. Sorry
Yes,
about that.
no problem.
Miss
No
Crawford.
worries.
Question. What are your thoughts about network marketing, creating wealth using network marketing? And number 2, have you ever heard of a company called SolarVay?
Yes and yes. So with regard to network marketing, it depends on the type that you're speaking about. So if you're talking about MLM, then I'm not as big of a fan. I know that it has some success. But when it comes down to it, for a business to be successful, networking is absolutely required, and you can't survive without it. So, but if you're talking about as far as the trickle down with MLM, is that what you're referring to?
Right. The opportunity of creating wealth with the right product and the right service. If you understand what network marketing is, then you're going to go out here and market it and promote it. As far as being a liable business model for people to want to, copy or take part in, do you think that's a reliable source of income?
I think the concept is always wonderful, but it always depends on the structure, who created the structure. And if I remember correctly, SolarVay, that's not the T. Which one is SolarVay, if you can refresh my memory?
SolarVay is a technology company that uses T-Mobile to offer free cell phone service to customers.
And I know I've heard about it. I can hear it ringing in my mind, but it's not really sticking out. You want to tell me a little bit more about it so I can make sure I'm on the same page?
Well, SolarVay was started in June 2012. The headquarters out of Seattle, Washington. And basically, we offer unlimited voice data and text using T-Mobile's network. And if people enroll into our network, if you get 6 people in the network, your cell phone bill now is free. If you wanted to make money and have a business, it's like a $298 investment.
So it's like the connection with like 5 links, and there's another one.
It's not like 5 links or those, because we have 2 products, mobile service, and we have SolarVay Marketplace. Like if you use our debit card and make purchases, you get cash back also. That comes along with your membership as a member of SolarVay.
Okay, so
but it doesn't cost a person if they want to get free mobile service. They just use the service, enroll 6 people, and that service is free.
This is what I would say in general, because specifically towards that, I know I've heard of SolarVay, but I'm really not familiar with it to answer it specifically. But this is my general philosophy. I believe, as every great investor has ever said, that you should invest in what you buy. So if you're using cell phone service, I'm a firm believer that if I use it, I have to find a way to make money from it. And so if I love Wrigley Spearmint Gum, I invest in their stock. I use a lot of Avon products, so now I sell Avon. That is my general philosophy on how that all should work. And I know that that's the general philosophy behind like Solivay and others, is that if you're using it, you should find a way to get paid for it. And if that is what you all are doing, then of course I would say kudos to you and good step forward.
All right, peace to be. Answer your question, man.
Yes, I appreciate the time.
All right, thank you very much.
for the show.
Appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Gravely Show. I'm coming to you from beautiful downtown Richmond, Virginia, 788-0990. I have Miss Crawford, Miss Shirley Crawford, Assistant Director down at BizWorks here in the city of Richmond. They located at 2545 Bellwood Road. That's in South Richmond.
Yes.
2545 Bellwood Road in South Richmond. Their telephone number is 804-275-5190 here on the Jack Gravely Show. Is Richmond a good arena to go into business? Is Richmond metropolitan area the type of place, when I talk about going into business, I think about Austin, Texas. I think about Atlanta, Georgia. I think about Charlotte, North Carolina. I think about Washington, D.C. as having the atmosphere and that business oomph that says, yeah, that's where I want to go start a business. Is Richmond at that level? Is Richmond going that way now? What is Richmond like?
Okay, so
from your viewpoint.
Yes, so we know that right now Richmond is ranking number 1 and sometimes number 2 for a place to start a business. But
really?
But they're talking about corporate businesses.
Corporate, okay.
Now, when it comes to, I'm a native Richmonder, so there's no slander in what I say.
Okay.
But I love my home, and no matter where I roam, I come back home.
Okay.
But Richmond is a very cliquish when it comes to your business and to the things that you're doing. And so if you're not in the right networks, then people might not ever know about what you're doing, no matter how phenomenal what you're doing is, which is once again the reason why marketing is so extremely vital. There's a great amount of dollars in the community. There is a great art environment. There's a great, well, let's just say a very active political environment. All the things that you need to have that type of active engagement with your business, they're all here. They're all right here in our beloved Richmond. But one of the things on your laurels and think that you can just put your sign out, because of the fact that this is very much one of those areas where if I don't know you, I might not do business with you. And so that's part of the reason why you have to keep getting out there. You have to keep getting your name out there. You have to work a little bit harder than, let's say, in Atlanta. In Atlanta, I've been there on many occasions, spent lots of time there.
Okay.
You can go in with a great idea, and generally you can get it, spiraling forward, whereas here you have a few more hurdles to go through. It's a wonderful area. I love my area, but we're very group-centric.
I've heard that Charlotte is a lot like, and seen a little bit of Charlotte being business-oriented, and people going to Charlotte, North Carolina, and going to business. A lot of young people from college,
Yes.
they like going to Charlotte because Charlotte is wide open for business, and I use that term advisedly, wide open. But it's a town that, and you know, you look at some of the businesses and opportunities and the construction and things around the Richmond area, you would think Richmond would have that kind of vitality and that kind of kick to it too.
Sometimes we stand in our own way.
Yeah.
And I'll use this example and hopefully not get hate mail for it. But like I said, I'm a native Richmonder, and I've seen some great ideas come and go. So if I look at the example of the 6th Street Marketplace, so it was built. It was a great idea. It was never finished. Next city council comes in and it's demolished. And this is part of the problems that we have. We don't have the longevity of a project. So we keep talking about how we're going to centralize arts and everything downtown. We built up Center Stage. Altria has the theater. There were all these promises of connections that were to come in between there, but things never come to fruition. And so, unlike Charlotte is the economic development department in Charlotte, the city council, the government is very actively pushing and engaging their young people as they're trying to make these things happen.
And building their downtown.
Yes.
And building their downtown.
And it's lovely.
It is.
And we're missing some of those pieces. We have lots of pockets of great influence, people who are very passionate, but once again, it's the connector to say, this is the plan. We're going to stick it through. We're going to do this no matter who's in city council, no matter who's the governor, no matter who's the mayor. This is what's going to happen. And that's the piece that we're missing from that end. So it's the responsibility of the entrepreneur to make things happen for themselves.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Jack Gravely Show coming to you from 788-0990, 788-0990. We have Miss Shirley Crawford. She's the Assistant Director of BizWorks, office, warehouse, facilities, and mentoring that ensure business growth. A lot of programs. And let's talk about some of the, well, I'll tell you what, let's go to the break. And when I come back, we're going to ask Miss Crawford to talk a little bit about some of the, she's mentioned some of the other services they had down there, but I wanted her really to hit some of the broad services that BizWorks can provide you as a business person here in the Richmond metropolitan area.
Many times
and everybody eat gumbo and get drunk. But that's not what we're talking about here. This morning, we're talking about BizWorks. BizWorks with Miss Shirley Crawford. Our time is getting short. We have less than 10 minutes left. Telephone number is 788-0990, 788-0990. My toll-free number is 877-953-3990. And we're talking about business. Those of you who have an idea or have a desire or have a want to go into business, call her. Talk to her. Ask her a question. She may not can answer it on the phone, but I can tell you this. If she don't know the answer now, she'll get it for you. So call her and ask your questions about anything you have connected with business. And I encourage those of you getting out of college and you can't find a job, build a job.
Yes.
Build a job.
Yes.
What do you say to young folk coming out of college today about building their career, building a job?
Well, the interesting thing about the generation that's happening now is that there is a lot of desire to buck the system, kind of. Mm-hmm. And so they're not looking for the traditional. But the thing is, if you're going into corporate America, you're either going to comply with the traditional or you're going to find some other employment. And so I've actually been doing lots of conversations with college students saying, why don't you consider starting your own? There is so much wisdom in knowing that, once again, I'm a very firm believer that everyone should have their own source of income. Everyone should have their side hustle. You should not be dependent on anyone else for your paycheck. Now, while it's fine to work for someone else, it should be short term. Although I will say there are some people who are meant to be employees. I have accepted that as well.
Everybody's not meant to be an entrepreneur.
Yes,
okay.
I think everyone
breaks your heart.
It does. It hurts my feelings because I know that it's part of the brainwashing of our society. Our society says to be successful, we're looking for that white picket fence and the 2-car garage and having all the toys and having the lovely home. And we look at that as our economic status and working for someone who has that offers us a 401k or benefits.
Uh-huh.
That's what we think the American dream is. That is not what we were founded on. That is not what the backbone of our country is not based off of Fortune 500 companies. They didn't exist then. Okay. The backbone of our country is getting up, taking our own hands and making something and doing something. You don't have to be a farmer. I can't even plant a garden. I can't help it. I kill everything. But still, I can take these hands and I can do websites. I can do designs. I can do all kinds of consultations.
Training. You can do.
Yes, I can do all of the above. And everyone has something. I have little girls at my church who every week they come by with something. They made little bracelets this week, or they baked cookies, or they make these little rubber band bracelets. Yeah. They are all, and they're selling everything for $1. You know how much it is before they come up to you. Right. And every week I am supporting them because this is what our future is. And so for these college students who are coming out and you want to make a difference, you know what? If you have a point of view, start a blog. If you have a product that you're interested in making, make it. This is the time that you can flounder and fail, pick yourself back up again. And if you have to, go find a corporate job. Or even if you have a corporate job, you should have a side hustle. You should have another way of having some income. Because the way our society is going, we're not getting more Fortune 500 companies.
Right.
Over 90% of all jobs come from small business owners. Ladies
and gentlemen, you heard it from the guru. You heard it from, I could not have said it better. Ms. Crawford, I want to thank you. If you have a closing statement or anything you want to say about BizWorks, we have how much, about 5 or 6 minutes? 4 minutes. Microphone is yours.
Okay. Well, one, I want to say thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Truly a pleasure to be in the room with this icon, Jack Gravely. And so for those of you who are out there who either have a small business or thinking about a small business, I say think some more, plan some more. The only thing I do say is that if you have a dream, dreams are meant to be realities, but that reality comes to pass with a plan. So it's not a matter of I had a bad dream last night and it said, take all my money out of my 401k and sunk it into a business. But it does say I can wake up with a plan of action to say, you know what, this is what I want to be. 20 years from now, I want to be retired. Or 20 years from now, I want to have income that I can pass on to my children. Or I want to have a legacy to pass on. That doesn't happen with just a dream. It happens with a plan. One step at a time, you can easily make it happen. And if you want some assistance in doing so, that's what we're here for. Come by for a free consultation. We'd love to talk to you about your business, to talk about what you want to see accomplished, and hopefully be able to pass you on. And if you want to come by, we're at 2545 Bellwood Road. And the number is 804-275-5190. And the thing I always tell everyone is happy entrepreneuring. Only you make that difference in what society is. It's not the big company.